where the West begins in Fort Worth, Texas, to around the globe. You are listening to Talk in the Night. And now, your host, Paranormal Phil. Thank you, and good evening, good morning, wherever you may be around the world, around the globe, or even in your own backyard. I am Paranormal Phil, and that is my nickname because I'm big into the paranormal. But tonight, we're not talking about the paranormal. We're talking about veterans' issues, things like healthcare, mental health, education, employment, disabilities, and so much more. And of course, tonight is going to be a live call-in show in a little bit here where you can call in, and whether you're a veteran or non-veteran but know somebody who is a veteran, you can call in and discuss the veterans' issues that are important to you. Now, I'm a veteran myself, so I figured since Wednesday was Veterans Day, what better time to do a show like this than tonight. Now, I'm pretty sure people are not tuned in just yet, and I am going to type in the chat, welcome to the show and the chat. Now, if you're not subscribed on or not on YouTube, you must have an account to chat in the chat. I don't know if there's a way to do it if you're a guest, but if you have an account, sign into your account and you can join the chat. Like I said, tonight we're going to get into veterans issues. So much that I've dealt with, so I can talk a little bit about. Now, of course, I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything. But if every one of us has each other's back, or as far as the military goes, has your six, then we can get things done. But if you're doing it alone, which I've done for many years, till I learned that there is help out there for veterans. Hey, Vince. And I do monitor the chat. I can't monitor it every second because I have to keep popping up the chat to see it. But again, like I said, if you're a veteran or non-veteran who knows a veteran, besides myself, call in and discuss the issues that are important to you. But we're not going to open up the phone lines just yet because I got some things to talk about before we do. Now, before we get going into tonight's show, I'm going to give it a few more moments for people to show up. But Talk in the Night is listener viewer funded, so there is a link down in the description where you can support Talk in the Night. Anything that you can donate. I'm working on, if I have time, to start up a Patreon page where you can become a member and get exclusive content, but that's still a little further on down the road. Now, also coming up, let me take that off. Coming up in December, I don't have shows listed yet on the website, which is talkingthenight.com. I will have those up by next weekend, what I'm going to do for December. And then in December, I'm also going to be starting scheduling guests for the show. I worked on something with a friend of mine to learn how to have a video chat guest on the show with OBS. I'm still learning. Even at my age, there's always something new to learn. But I'm going to start scheduling guests for January and beyond, because I'm going to start having guests on my show again. So that way I don't have to lose my voice for talking all night either. Which will be a good thing. Also, you see the background that I have right now. That background hopefully by next Saturday night, I'm going to be changing that up to where it's an animated logo with the lightning striking, my face slowly appearing out of nowhere, the words up top coming out of nowhere, or maybe typing in one letter at a time. I don't know. I'm still working on it. It's stuff that I'm learning in college right now for radio, television, and film. So I'm learning new applications that I would have never probably guessed to try. Hey, Nicole. So I didn't get a chance. I tried to get it. I tried to get it finished by tonight, but it wasn't happening. Still a lot to learn, but yes, hopefully by next Saturday I'll have that changed up to where it's an animated logo again with the lightning striking, the face popping out of nowhere, and the words coming out slowly. So I'm changing up the show. I'm learning new techniques. As you can see, it looks like there's nothing behind me, but actually when I take off the chroma key, all it is a green screen behind me. So that allows me to look like it's transparent between me and the background image. Thanks, Nicole. All right, so let's get into tonight's show, and I want to bring up this background for right now because I took this image and I put in the words Veteran Special. Again, like I said, if you're a veteran or even a non-veteran who knows somebody who is a veteran other than myself, if you know just me as a veteran, that ain't gonna work. But I mean, I'm not saying don't call in, but like I said, later on we're gonna do a call in where you can call in and talk about the veterans issues that are important to you, especially if you're a veteran or know somebody who is a veteran. Now, again, like I said, I want to talk about some topics. Okay, Nicole. I want to talk about some topics before I open up the phone lines. So let me get to that. And let's open up this screen. Now this is, let me move this chat out of the way so I can actually see. This is from the RAND Corporation, RAND on Veterans Issues. And I just pulled up this one because I don't want a whole lot of things to talk about because I want to give you all time to call into the show as well. But it's going to cover some things that I'm going to be open to hearing your thoughts on these veterans issues. So, health and well-being. Well, that's a big thing because, okay, Nicole. It's a big thing because, yes, I've been going through a lot of health problems and stuff like that. It's been difficult to get, get care as far as a veteran. I mean, people think us veterans got it good. Not necessarily. Sometimes you get a good doctor, sometimes you don't. But especially in this time of COVID, and if you've seen my show, you already know what I think about the whole thing. But we're not here to talk about that. But anyways, it makes it even harder for us veterans to get in to see a doctor when something's wrong. I mean, I had an appointment back in June, I think it was, June or July, but it was on the telephone. Well, the problem that I'm experiencing to this day, it requires the doctor actually looking at the problem. to figure out the problem with me rather than talk about it over the phone, because all they did was, oh, let's try these pills here. And that's the military's way. I mean, they'll just toss pills at you rather than come up with a solution for the problem. And I think that's where we need to change a lot of things. And I'm not talking about just veteran stuff, but all types of healthcare. We got to stop pushing pills at the problem and start looking for a solution to this. Like cancer, for one. I mean, I didn't pull it up, but there was a song by Tom McDonald that I posted on my personal Facebook page. But that wasn't the song. But he also wrote one on cancer, how nobody's looking for a solution. They're just barely treating the problem and letting it go at that. And if you're sound-minded, everything like that, you, I mean, think about it. I mean, if we can come up with a solution to cure this stuff, rather than just push pills and push it further on down the road. I mean, look at how long we had cancer in our society, and nothing's really getting done. No cures, nothing like that. But yet we can push, and I have to be careful what I say on YouTube, because the algorithms will flag my channel and probably take down this video, so I have to be careful. But the VAXX, the vax, we push through we're pushing through a vax for this whole thing here going on now, and I have to be careful there too, because if you talk bad about something, the algorithms shut you down, especially YouTube. So I have to be very careful. Yeah, Nicole says, yeah, I'm up to 4 different kinds of meds, and they asked me if I want anything for my back. I said, no, taking physical therapy instead. Like I said, there is so many other solutions out there that we could do to cure some of the stuff that veterans, not only veterans, can live a healthy life and help maybe cure some of these issues. But it's all about that dollar. That's what it is. Think about it, if you're healthy, the big pharmaceutical companies, big pharma, isn't making money. So what do? They push the thing down further on down the road. And I think if we solve some of these problems, maybe we'll be more productive and everything like that. But to keep pushing the same problem further on down the road, or just paying out monies to silence people, and no, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but think about it. I mean, like I said, if we cured everything, if we found a cure for something like cancer, like the flu, which is still with us, people get the flu vaccine, which I stopped doing altogether, and I won't put any of that chemical soup in my body. But think about it, the flu, how long we had the flu vax, and it's not curing anything, it's just pushing it further down the road and we keep getting new strains and everything like that, and it just keeps perpetuating itself rather than trying to find a solution for it. But I think the problem is the stuff that they're putting in our bodies that is making us even more sicker. I mean, think whatever you want with that thought, but I mean, with the flu shot, for example, what does the flu shot do? They put parts of that disease in the vaccine to make you sick. Think about it. You don't want to get sick. You take it because you think, oh, I'll take it and I won't get sick. But what happens? You do get sick because they put portions of that flu vaccine, that flu disease in the vax. And a lot of people are asleep to that because they believe what they're told by mainstream media. They believe what they're told rather than actually do any research for it. But we're not going to make this whole thing about a health issue and everything, because like I said, there's a lot more to cover. But there are a few things on this website, navigating mental health, which we're going to get in to in a moment. Mental health care for veterans, which is another big thing. Vince says, yep, true for the flu shot after I got one last year. A few hours later, I was almost puked. Yeah, like I said, think about it. The vaccine, the vax isn't helping you. And do you really know what is in those? How many people actually read the ingredients for these vax, VAXX? How many do that? Not many. We just go on what we're told rather than research it ourselves. And that's a problem. We need to start telling them, no, we're not going to put that chemical soup mixture in our bodies. Because once it's in our bodies, there's no going back. I mean, let's use some different stuff that veterans, when they go into the service, they get tons of shots for all kinds of different diseases. I know, I went through it, and I stopped doing those VAXXs because I've learned that the stuff that they're putting in it is actually destroying us. I mean, I think part of why I got tremors in my right legs is because of the vax. I can't prove it, but they did a neurological thing and nothing's wrong with my brain that caused the tremors. They haven't done something with the back, even though I told them I want something done, an MRI done on my back, maybe a pinched nerve or something like that might be causing the things. They even tried chiropractic, fucking talk. Chiropractics, and that really didn't help. But I started thinking, these tremors started shortly after I got a TB test, a TB shot for a job that I had. So, again, I can't prove it, but think about it. Do you really know what's in those shots? Vince says, a few weeks after I got the shot, I was sick with a cold and over a month long. So yeah, I mean, think about it. But let's. I mean, how can we improve our healthcare system? If you're a veteran or know somebody who's a veteran, or even people that are not veterans, how can we improve this? I would love to hear that. And again, I'll open up the phone lines shortly. I want to check something real quick. Oops, wrong one. Just because I don't want to open up that. Oh, I keep doing that. That's not the one I want to open up because I got that one open because I want to talk about some veterans groups on Facebook. So I had to open up Facebook for that. So again, how can we do that? Now let's talk about, like I said, mental health. We're going to get into it in a few moments because it's a big thing, especially in the time of quarantines and lockdowns. Think about it. It affected everybody, not just veterans, but all the stuff that veterans go through. It affected us even more. How to reduce suicide among U.S. veterans and service members. Again, like I said, I'm not going to go into these articles. A link is in the description for this whole article, and where you can click on these individual articles. But how can we reduce suicide among U.S. veterans and service members? I mean, like I said, think about it. Excuse me. We've been on lockdown in this whole time of COVID, because I call it a COVID because it is a con. Think I'm wrong? I mean, we'll do another show on that later time, maybe sometime in December. But I mean, think about it. During these lockdowns, notice suicides. There's some reports of suicides by veterans and other people because of the lockdown, because people are stuck inside and everything like that. They can't get out and enjoy life. All because our government and our leaders said you had to. I mean, yeah, people are going to say, well, they're getting their information from their scientists, but the scientists. But who's to say those scientists are not incentivized by something with, let's say, big pharma, and stuff like that, rather than actually help the people of this country? They're helping their pocketbooks. But how can we reduce the suicide among U.S. Veterans and service members? Well, one thing is be open to talk to somebody that is struggling. I mean, there's been plenty of times that I've been struggling. Needed somebody to talk to. Nobody there. So I found another way to relieve that sadness. And the show does that for me. It keeps, school and the show keeps me busy, so I'm not thinking about that sadness when I'm alone, when I don't have somebody to talk to. But if you don't have that, here's another way. Taking some time out of your day to go out and enjoy nature, or if you can't get out and enjoy nature and enjoy the sounds and stuff like that, download meditation apps. Listen to the sound of nature. Listen to meditative tracks on your phone or your computer. It actually soothes your mind. But the biggest thing is we have to stick together and basically be open to listen to people that are going through that tough time. That's going to help reduce don't take somebody's words like, oh, I'm feeling sad, and think, oh, they'll get over it. Think about them. Talk to them and see how you can help. Because that could mean the difference between a life living and a life taken. That's one big thing. Let's see. And mental health has a part to play in that. And like I said, we're going to get into that. Ensuring veterans access to timely, high-quality health care. Yeah, that ain't happening. It hasn't happened. Like I said, I had a phone interview in June or July. I can't remember. But my doctors, even though I mentioned everything wrong with me and that I want to get things checked out because I'm afraid something might be seriously wrong. What did she tell me? Well, we'll see you in January in person when we can actually see you in person. But if our government keeps pushing this COVID, nobody's going to get to see the doctors, and something might be terribly wrong, and then we end up in the emergency room. Rather than, if something's wrong, let's get these people in to see what is wrong, to figure out what's wrong. Because it's better to be safe than sorry. But no, everybody's afraid. They're afraid. They're wearing a mask. Yeah, I'm against the mask. I'm against them. Because all it's doing is you're wearing a petri dish on your face. Yes, you can wash them. Yes, you can get new ones. But every time that you're wearing that, especially if you're wearing it all day, you're wearing a petri dish on your face. And you're going to get sick. Now, yes, it does, even though there's people out there that says, no, it doesn't inhibit your breathing or anything like that. Yes, it does, especially if you got breathing problems. I do too. I have breathing problems. I got legitimate breathing problems. I'm not really supposed to wear those masks. But they keep pushing it. And pushing it. And they're pushing our buttons to see how far we'll take it before they back off. But by that time, it's too late. But think about it. The timely care, the high quality health care, it's not there. Like I said, June into January. That's not access in a timely manner. I can understand if you're healthy and everything like that and no real bad problems, then yeah, go like 6 months. But if you got problems, waiting 6 months is not the answer. Solving the problems rather than actually just pushing it further on down the road so they don't have to take care of it. That's a problem. Timely access, high quality healthcare. We don't have it in this country for veterans or anybody. And again, I'm going to open up the phone lines at the top of the hour. Or maybe sooner, I don't know. But I want to hear your thoughts on all this stuff. if you disagree with me, let me know why you disagree. So, I mean, we got a whole lot of things to talk about. Keep getting notifications, and I want to make sure I'm checking them out and making sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, Nicole. Let's see. How private healthcare providers could better serve veterans. Now, it's just been recently that veterans have been allowed to see outside healthcare providers. And the VA picking up some of those checks. But, I mean, you have to be, a lot of times you have to be referred to those outside providers by the VA, rather than allowing veterans to go out there and say, okay, I'm done with my VA doctor. They're not doing anything. They're not taking care of the problem, but there might be better services outside of the VA. I mean, beforehand, you pretty much had to go to your, and trust me, I've done it. I had to go to my patient advocate at the VA clinic out here in Fort Worth to get anything done, because nothing was getting done. And it still ain't getting done, because they don't want to listen to us veterans. They don't want to listen to the people that they're trying to treat. I mean, back in the 1800s, 1700s, 1800s, yes, healthcare was a whole lot different back then, and there was a lot less people. But doctors took an oath to help people. They ain't really get paid for their services a lot of times, but they did it to help. We lost that way. Now it's all about that money, that high dollar degree, and everything like that, rather than actually helping the patient. And it's just sad that it's like that. Let's see, to private healthcare providers. Are private healthcare providers in New York ready? Like I said, I'm not going to read through all these, but let's talk about mental health, because, again, like I said, it's a big thing, especially during this time of COVID. And the reason why I say it is because, if you've watched my show, if you followed me on Facebook, you know my thoughts on that. But again, that's not about what this show's about. But during this time, mental health for everybody, not just veterans, but veterans experience it a little more because of the stuff that we've seen while we were in the military. Things that have happened. Yes, I was in the Navy. You think there ain't something that didn't scar me for life? Yeah, I just don't talk about it. I haven't, until just recently when I got a lawyer to help me get more disability, because the VA kept dragging their feet and pushing, even though I kept getting worse, they kept pushing the thing down the road. And I just kept getting worse, and they kept keeping me at the same 30%. So I had to go out there and get a lawyer. Again, like I said, a lot of things I'm still learning. But I never thought to appeal it until this last time, because nobody told me. And I was so stuck on waiting for somebody to tell me rather than actually go out and check it out for myself, research it for myself. And like I said, I got I'm getting worse. I can't do as much as I used to be able to do. And it's sad. I miss that life because I'm not that old. I'm going to be 47 next month. But I'm older than most people that have never served in the military, and they're talking about PTSD and everything like that. What have you seen? I'm not saying that you're wrong, but what have you seen that has made you with that traumatic, post-traumatic stress disorder or the depression? Because you can't get out? Yeah, everybody's feeling that effect. Everybody. But like I said, if we allow them to tell us what to do rather than actually say, no, we're free people. We can do what we want. We're not slaves to the system. Then things would be a lot better, but they're not. But everybody during this time is experiencing some kind of depression, anxiety, and everything like that. And for a lot of veterans, it's worse with the depression and the PTSD. And how can we fix that problem? Again, by talking to people who are feeling depressed. Especially if you've gone through it before. Talk with those people. Say, I've been where you are. I know what you're going through. Of course, nobody can know exactly what everybody is going through. But if you make it sound like, I might not know what exactly you're going through, but I'm here to help. That is a good start. That's a good start to helping people with these mental health issues. Now, some people are beyond that care, but a lot of it's because of the medication that they're taking, the medication they're being prescribed while Big Pharma is lining their pockets. I mean, I could be wrong. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment in the chat, or if you're watching this after the live stream, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you think. Again, we're going to open up the phone lines in about 20 minutes. There's still quite a bit that I want to cover. Let's see, a lot of suicide, mental health. We talked about healthcare. We talked about mental health. Let's talk about some education. Now, right now, I'm going through the VA Voc Rehab to learn a new trade because I can't sit still or that for very long. I can't stand for very long because of my health conditions. So I'm trying to learn something that will help me get further ahead in doing my show. Welcome back, Nicole. Learning new techniques like for radio, learning new techniques for when I finish my screenplay to where I can write my own horror film. Learn about all the techniques used in video and editing and all that kinds of stuff. It's something I want to do. Now, you don't have to do something like that, but I mean, there are things that veterans can do, like higher education benefits for post 9/11. Now, a lot of veterans, and if you're a veteran, you know this, is Vietnam veterans get a lot of more help, and so do people that are post 9/11. But those that have served in the Gulf War era, like myself, it seems like those services are not around. Why is that? So, I mean, luckily, even with only 30%, I was able to get VA vocational rehab to go back to school, because they wouldn't give it for somebody 30%. But since they can see that I'm getting worse in my health care and walking everything with a cane or a walker, which the past 3 days I've been using the walker, not my cane, it's because things are getting worse, progressively worse. But it goes back to the healthcare. We're not getting that proper healthcare. But there are things out there for people that have served in the military, and the GI Bill, Montgomery GI Bill. Of course, if you're just newly out of the service, you have 12 years. I never used mine because I didn't feel like going back to school, even though I could have gone back to school after I got out. But I was so interested in doing some other things and enjoying life while I was young. Now, I wish I would have gone back to school sooner to learn stuff like film and video and radio and stuff like that. But it wasn't on my mind at that time. But there are things out there for veterans. The Montgomery GI Bill, post 9/11 Montgomery GI Bill. I mean, there are other options out there. As far as organizations that help veterans. I didn't know this until I actually moved here to Fort Worth. There's organizations like Volunteers of America that help veterans find jobs and stuff like that. Goodwill Industries, even though some of them are putting that money in their pocket, but still helping veterans. Volunteers of America, Goodwill Industries. There's so many organizations out there that help veterans. I mean, I've struggled with rent. Veterans get a little more help than most people. And it's sad to say that happens. But I think why a lot of organizations like to help veterans more than they would the general public is because they know that we're going through this tough time, and they don't want us out on the street to have a relapse of our depression, of our PTSD, or stuff like that. There's assistance out there. There's federal educational system programs out there, but they need to be improved a lot. Post 9/11 and adapting to college in this new digital age. I mean, the last time I was in college was 1997 aboard the ship that I was on, the USS South Carolina. And the instructor came out there and we learned with the instructor, basically like being in class. But things are a lot different. There wasn't computers back then. Now, since I started in summer this year back in college, everything's online. So luckily I stayed up with technology and it's helped me, but there's still that feeling of not being able to be on campus, interacting with the instructors, interacting with other students. Yes, I'm probably older than a lot of the students I'm in class with. Probably older than some of the instructors, maybe even. But it's been a challenge. And how do we solve that problem? How do we Because when you get out of the military, it's a whole different world. Because all you know is the military life, and then once you get out, there's nobody there to help you. You have to actually go out there and do it on your own. Figure it out for your own. There is help, but they don't say, okay, you're getting out. Here's where you can go for help. These places and such and such. There was none of that in 1998 when I got out. Everything that I learned by doing. I learned by researching on my own. And it's sad. I mean, things need to change there. Let's get into employment. Another big thing when you get out of the military. I mean, if you don't have really any skills, like I was a machinist mate, but I was a general machinist mate, even though my equipment was air conditioning and refrigerations. I never got the certification to handle refrigerant. But now everything's so technical. And veterans of my age that went in the service when I did or before, a lot of this technical stuff that's now out there is difficult for them. Like I said, luckily I kept up with learning the technical side of things. But it's been difficult. There's still stuff that I'm learning. But I'm doing it, the way I learn is by doing. So once you get out of the military service, a lot of times the position, the stuff that you learned in the military is not available in the civilian job market. So how do you go from knowing this trade to having to do this? A lot of times, a lot of them go to retail or fast food, which doesn't do much. Yes, everybody's got to do those type of jobs, but it doesn't pay the bills. I mean, it doesn't. Like retail, the fast food, that's for the younger crowd that hasn't had that life experience yet. I mean, I worked at an amusement park. Why did I do that? Because I enjoyed the work. I enjoyed having fun and scaring people and everything like that. I enjoyed the work. But it was difficult for my age. But again, and it didn't really pay the bills, but that's something, a life choice that I made. But, I mean, that's something for the younger crowd, not the older crowd. And yet I was doing it because I didn't have the certifications to work on air conditioning units or refrigeration units. Yes, I slacked off quite a bit in the military because the military wasn't for me. I did my 3 years, and I learned some things, but I never got the certifications to work on air conditioning refrigeration units. And of course, I got injured because of the heavy equipment. So it made it more difficult. So I wouldn't have had to been able to do that. But again, like I said, when I got out, there wasn't that hand there to kind of not lead me, but kind of show me where to go, where to get that help. What veterans bring to the civilian workplace. Now, there's a lot of things that employers like about veterans, that discipline, that attention to detail. But if you don't have the skills for that job, you ain't gonna get it. So that's where schooling comes in handy, to learn a new trade that you might not be able to do. But a lot of veterans like myself, got out of the military and never, I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of us didn't go back to school after after the military. And it's playing havoc right now, but again, I've been disabled since shortly after I got out of the military. And carrying over some of those skills, like I said, from the military to civilian life, sometimes that don't work because you get injured or something like that. And then you can't do that. So what do? Well, if they treat you like they do me and a lot of other veterans, where I've been at 30% for over 10 years now, and I've just got worse and worse and worse, and they keep saying, no, it's not getting any worse, it's not getting any worse. Well, how is it that I went from almost 3 years ago being able to chase down people? Of course, I was hurting when I did it, but how did I go from being able to chase down people during Halloween at an amusement park to 3 years later where I'm using a cane or a walker? I mean, think about it. They're not out there to solve the problem. They're out there to push the thing further on down the line. And luckily, like I said, I reached out. I talked to somebody about getting voc rehab to learn a new skill to where I can sit and alternate sitting and standing and everything like that, which I can't do much of either. But it gives me something else to do besides actually going out there and getting even more injured. So that's another thing that you have to look at. But like I said, when you get out of the service, there's help out there. You just got to know where to look, because they're not going to hold your hand and say, they're not even going to point you in the direction a lot of times. They're going to say, well, you did your time. Good luck. That's it. And it's sad. Got about 7 minutes to the top of the hour. Why is veteran unemployment so high? Because a lot of veterans once they get out, they don't know where to turn. Like I said, the whole issue of everything, going from military life to civilian life, it's a whole different animal. So, I mean, it's sad, but it's not just, I mean, there's a lot more homeless veterans out there than there are sometimes. I mean, there's quite a bit of homeless veterans out there. And that's another thing. I spent 3 months homeless when I moved here to Fort Worth. But I didn't let it get me down. I strived for what I got. Now I'm struggling again, but I'm still striving as best as I can. And like I said, with mental health, with employment, with education, one of the best things a veteran can do is seek out family support to handle challenges in life. Transitioning from the military to civilian life. Thanks, Nicole. Family, friends, that kind of support is needed. But sad to say, sometimes families and friends don't really stick around to help. It's sad to say, but it does happen. How does deployment experience compare to across the services? Different services. Deployment. During deployment, it takes a toll on the veterans, depending on what branch of service they're in. like me, I was in the Navy. We spent 6 months out to sea. And yes, it was tough being around, away from family and everything like that. But of course, and my family was all the way out on the West Coast. I was stationed on the East Coast. So that made it more difficult. And of course, I didn't have family of my own. Still don't have family of my own, but that's a whole nother story. We'll leave that for next week when I talk about dating relationships. But besides that point, I didn't have a family, but I did have friends there. And we stuck together. We had each other six. So even when, depending on if you're in the Navy, if you're in the Army, the Marines, Air Force, your deployment looks different. But there's always somebody there that you can turn to. And that's the people alongside of you, the people that you served with. Because that can be the best help for anybody serving in the military. Now, if you got loved ones, it's more difficult, but to be away from them. But it's something that you signed up for. You raised your hand, took that oath. And you knew what you were getting into. But a lot of times, a lot of people, once they get out, they only know that life. And they can't think of what it was like to be a civilian before they went in. Now, if they were young, right out of high school, you didn't have much time to enjoy adult life. Me, I didn't join till, let's see, like 3 years after I got out of high school. So I didn't go into the military right away. I was debating on it because I wanted to serve because my dad did 20 years in the Navy. I mean, in a way I wish I didn't, but in a way I'm glad I did. So, I mean, like I said, if you're out there deployed or you're away from family, the military kind of helps you cope with that in a way. But having friends around, especially in this technology age, we can pick up a phone. We can text, we can Facebook, all that kind of stuff. We can get a computer and interact. Back when I was in the service, there wasn't much of that. You had a phone, yeah. Or if you had a phone, I didn't have one in the military. I don't know why I didn't. Could have taken so many more pictures than just with a old 35 millimeter camera. But even phones back then weren't that great. So, I mean, and of course, when you're out to sea, you don't have that real service. I mean, you had a phone where you could call back to your families every once in a while when you had that service, but it's not the same as back then as it is today. Now we have a lot more options to stay in touch with our friends and family. Let's see. So, impact on deployment on military marriages. I mean, I've seen it a lot. The impact it has on families when they're separated. And, oops, I closed the wrong thing. Sorry, my bad. Wanted to see something. I didn't mean to close the screen. But, yeah, I mean, a lot of times I heard many stories when a lot of my friends, we went out on our med cruises and come back to find our wives, our girlfriends, cheating with somebody else. It takes a toll on people. or at least back then, we didn't have that option to stay more in touch with our family. And I'm pretty sure it still happens to this day, but now we have more options to stay in touch with our loved ones, our wives, girlfriends, and stuff like that, if we have them when we're in the service. And there shouldn't be that much, but it does take an impact on marriages, on relationships. Let's see. Family-based organization, veteran reintegration, basically helping you reintegrate into civilian life. And like I said, a lot of that wasn't around when I got out. But there's a lot more options to seek out these services, especially with the way technology is now. Back then, back when I was young, there was no Google. Google was actually going to the library and looking up through these little file drawers for a book or article to different computing machines and stuff like that. But there wasn't the widespread stuff that there is nowadays. Things were a lot different then. But yet, with all that said, veterans still experience this stuff. So again, I would love to know what you think. Let me know. Pop in the chat. Say hi. I promise you, I don't bite. I won't ridicule you if you say something that I don't agree with, because, you're entitled to your opinion. But let me know what you think and everything like that. Okay, just getting a notification on my phone. Sorry. But again, let's talk about it, because we're all one. And if you're watching this later on, leave a comment down in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about some of the stuff. So let's talk about real quick before we go to I'm gonna close that for a second. Before we go to the open lines, there's a lot here that, like Veterans Network group. There's quite a few groups on Facebook for veterans, but they help you with crisis hotlines, with some stupid stuff too. But they're veterans are there to help everybody, and that's the way it should be. We should be helping one another, because those people in power are not going to help you. Let's see. Let's look for another veterans group that I'm part of. I know I got a few. Let's see. I'm trying to find it. I got a lot of groups. Sorry. Veterans Circle National Chapter. So if you're not in a certain area, they could turn you into the direction that you need to go to find somebody in your local area, or maybe somebody is on that Facebook group that is in your area that might know something. So that's another one. I'm part of. Let's see if I can get it going. There's my ship that I served on. The only ship that I served on. But there's a Facebook group out there for people who served on that ship. And I'm friends with a lot of people that served before me. I got out just before they decommissioned the ship. But I'm friends with people that I served with. I'm friends with people that served before me. Everything like that. Some people that I don't remember serving on the ship with, I think I'm friends with. There's, like for Texas, there's veterans of Texas. I mean, you can find some things out through this page and seek help and everything like that. Like I said, sometimes there's stupid posts like this. I'm not saying stupid in the stupid way, but just something that doesn't really relate to veterans. But, I mean, like this, I mean, you can find so much stuff out there to help veterans. Then there's more general, more localized with North Texas rather than the whole state of Texas. North Texas veterans, memes like this. But so much stuff, and I mean, there's people that you can talk to if you're not filling up to it. Veterans Networking Group. Sorry, it's taking a moment to load up. Was that just there? No, I guess it's just that one just happened to get posted on the same page. But or maybe I was there. I don't know. But there's even a group that is veterans pissed off at the U.S. government. I'm one of them. But, I mean, you can probably find somebody to talk to even there. And I think that's it. So, like I said, there is a link to this. After the show is finished processing, which will probably be tomorrow, I will post a link to all those veterans groups that I'm part of. If you're a veteran, you can join those groups if you haven't done so already. But even if you're not in Texas, you can find a group probably in your area. Just do a search for it. But there's always somebody out there that can help you. So let's bring that down. And let's take this off. Well, actually, first, yeah. Let's take that off. And I'm going to put up the number to call in here in a second. But if you're not a subscriber to Talking the Night, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get notified when I go live, post a video, or anything like that. It really helps. And like I said, down in the link below, there is a description, or down in the description below, there's a link. Had that little lopsided. There's a link where you can support the show. Again, the show is listener, viewer supported. So anything you can help out would greatly be appreciated. So let's open up the phone lines. If you're a veteran, call in. Love to hear your thoughts on veterans issues. If you're a non-veteran but know a veteran, or even non-veteran that doesn't know a veteran, let's discuss the veteran issues. So the number to call in is 817. I want to make sure I got scrolling up there. Yeah, I do. Hopefully you can all see that. I'm going to have to work with that later. But the number to call in is 817-818-5234. Again, like I said, call in if you want to talk about veterans issues. Or if you're experiencing any of these issues. If you got feeling depressed with everything going on, I mean, if you want to talk about your problems here on the air, You don't have to give your name or anything like that, but you can remain anonymous, and I'll be there to listen. Now, I can't make the calls very long, so try to keep it under 5 minutes. If you want to remain anonymous, let me know at the start, but if not, let me know your name, first name only, and where you're from, and then we'll get into what you want to talk about. So the phone lines are open. I'm going to give it a moment for everybody to pop in there and let me know that if you guys want to call in. And if I don't get any calls, I'm going to end the stream early, but let me go over to Talking the Night on Facebook. Of course, you can't see this, but I can. So let me create a post on the Talking the Night Facebook page. And again, there's a link in the description down below for not only this YouTube channel, which you're already here, but there's a link for Facebook, the show's website, Discord, Twitter. Follow me on all those social media sites. I'm going to probably add some more like Patreon pretty soon, where you can get exclusive content. But right now I'm a little preoccupied, so I haven't had a chance to do that yet. But eventually I'll let everybody know. Oops, 817. Again, the number is 817-818-5234 to call in. Please do not call this number if I'm not live, because I will not answer. It goes straight to my cell phone. It's not my personal cell phone number, but it's a business number. So please do not call this number if I'm not live. If you're watching this later, do not call this number expecting to talk through. Let me do this. Please do not call. If I am not live. I have to put that because people will call when I'm not live, and I've had it happen. So, I'm going to share that. Okay, let's see. Alright, so I had to do this on my phone, unfortunately, but I still got the phone number open if you want to call into the show and talk about veterans issues that are important to you. So let me find that so I can share that. There we go. Alright, so again, the number to call in, as you can see right up here, you can see the number scrolling across, 817-818-5234. That's the call-in number, and if you want to call into the show, if you want to talk about veterans issues, I'm here until 10 if we get calls. If we don't, I'm going to give it about 5-10 minutes because I'm going to talk about some other things while we wait to see if we're going to get any calls. But right up here is the number to call in if you want to talk about some of the veterans issues that I talked about. Like I said, healthcare, mental health, education, employment, disabilities. That's another thing I didn't really get into earlier, which wasn't on that website, was disabilities. And just a lot of veterans come back with disabilities. Some of it's just mild, like ringing in the ears or something like that. But there are people that, like myself, that have been stuck at 30% disability for a while. And I touched on this a little bit earlier with healthcare and the VA. But again, we need to treat our veterans a little bit better. We need to make sure they're getting the care that they're needed. Because I got a feeling if it wasn't for me reaching out to a lawyer or pushing the envelope, if you will, to seek out these stuff, I probably would get worse and worse to where I was in a wheelchair and still be stuck at 30%. So again, like I said, I don't claim to know everything. But if you see somebody that is disabled and a veteran, don't give them hell, because you don't know the hell that they actually went through that gave them that disability. I mean, like I said, a lot of people see me getting around still to this day, be it with a cane or a walker, but still getting around. But people might say, well, if you're hurt so bad, why are you still getting around? Because if I'm sitting still, that pain is going to be worse. It's going to make me worse. It's going to make me inactive. I'm not going to be able to do much anymore. So I want to stay active all the chances that I can while I'm still able to do. But don't put somebody down just because maybe they have 10% disability, or or like if they have a placard in the car for a handicap, but they don't look like they're disabled. Well, maybe they have another type of disability like PTSD, where it makes it hard to do something. I mean, think about that before you judge somebody, because you don't know the full story if you judge somebody before you know that full story. So again, I'm gonna probably, okay, so we're at 9:18. I'm gonna give it to 9:30, and I want to pull something else up while we're talking. Like I said, we're doing a show on veterans issues. Next week we're getting into dating and stuff like that, and I'll bring that up at the end of the show. But let me see. All right, so let's actually look at this. I'm going to look at this website while I'm talking. But these are some of the common issues facing veterans. Like understanding and abiding by civilian legal standards may be different from military standards, coexisting with cultures, values, and norms different from those in the military, dealing with authority figures. I'm not going to pull up the website. I'm just reading off some of these stuff. This is some of the stuff that veterans have to deal with even in this day and age. Reestablishing and even reevaluating relationships with family and friends, finding a new career path, which I had to do because I can't do the stuff that I used to be able to. Again, the number, if you want to call in, is right up here. 817-818-5234. Again, I would love to hear your call. Do not call if it does not say, if it says that I'm not live, if you don't see that little red link up in the, let me see. If you don't, let's see, is it, no, it's this corner. If you don't see that, I think it's this corner or down at that corner or one of the corners. If it doesn't say, I think it actually might be the, down to the right, backwards. But if it doesn't say that I'm live, do not call the call-in number. I'm only taking calls when I'm live and when I have the number flashing ahead above. So, pursuing college, university education, like I said, which I'm doing now. Located in a new home, which I've never owned my own home. I'm hoping once I get things settled with the VA and get more disability because of my conditions, I'm hoping to have my own my first home out in the country, of course, where I can enjoy the peace and quiet. Because sometimes quiet is not the best thing for somebody that is facing depression. But there are things out in the quiet that can actually help as long as you're around with somebody else that can help you with that, like horseback riding. There's a program that helps veterans with horseback riding to help cope with PTSD. Like I said, and going out and enjoying listening to nature, the sounds of nature, it can actually be soothing to you. That might help you forget some of the stuff that you experienced while in the military. Other factors of readjustment may even be a bit more complex, like veterans' relationships with himself, herself, their sense of identity, purpose, self-worth. Yeah, that a lot of, even I've gone through that. And I still seek out what I'm really meant to do. But I think radio and television, film, stuff like that, that creative side keeps me thinking rather than thinking about the past. It keeps me looking forward, pushing towards the future. Reassessment of life goals. And actually, you know what? Let me bring this up. Again, the phone number is going to be flashing above, but I'm going to pull up this screen, and I might actually add this website after everything post. I didn't add it to the description, so I have to wait till after everything is done. But let's see. Yeah, you can still see the call-in number right here. 817-818-5234. Call in. Hopefully by next week I'll have the whole Skype thing completely figured out to where people can call in via Skype as well. But if you don't have Skype, you can always call this number, and I would love to hear your thoughts on the issues, like some of the stuff here. So, reassessment of life goals and ambitions, followed by setting and achieving personal, professional goals, which I'm doing. Again, I didn't really have that push until I got to Texas for some reason. Coping with starting over in society, which I've done many times. I started from scratch when I moved here to Texas. So understanding starting over is one thing I know about. It's no easy road. but it might be something that everybody goes through every once in a while. Not just veterans, but everybody. No longer holding the respect and authority afforded by a particular rank or billet, ultimately being regarded as Joe Smith versus Sergeant Smith or Platoon Smith or Petty Officer Smith. Had to get all of them in there, even though it didn't list the Petty Officer there, or Chief Smith or something like that. But starting over is not the end of the world, but people that have experienced that kind of stuff don't think of it that way. So, like I said, again, feel free to call in if you want to discuss some veterans issues. If not, we'll end here in a few moments if I don't get no calls. Psychological effects of traumatic experiences which may inhibit personal growth, for example, PTSD, survivor's guilt, depression, inclinations towards substance abuse, addictions, physical handicap as a result of injuries sustained in combat or even non-combat. Like me, I got injured lifting heavy equipment. Disfigurements, they're talking about like I should be on a battlefield where some of this stuff can be common. But like I said, I'll leave a link to this after the thing finishes processing, and this is Indie Vet. Now there's a couple pages on Facebook that I like, but I don't think I have time to go through all of them or find them. So let me take that back down. Where is it? There it is. All right. So again, like I said, we got 2 minutes to 9:30. If I don't get any calls, I'm gonna end the live stream. I'm going to give it one more minute. If I don't get a call, I'm going to end the live stream and talk about what we got coming up for next week. Sometimes I like doing 2-hour shows, but I don't like doing the whole 2 hours talking. That's why I open up the phone lines, because I want to hear your thoughts. But again, once I end, please do not call the show, and you won't see this until after it. So there will be a disclaimer in the description that says, please do not call when not live. But check out the website, talkofthenight.com. You can find the links to, matter of fact, I'm going to pull that up. Let me do that. So you can see the website. And let's see here. Where is it? Right there. Okay. So this is the Talk of the Night website. So you can see my logo up here. That's always going to stay the same. The only thing that's going to get animated is when I go live and start the show, you'll see it animated with the lightning strikes. You can see my fundraising video. Still trying to raise money for it. Again, the link is in the description down below. You can see a recap of the last show that I did. Past Story of those days is now Past Story of the Week. So I'm only doing one story a week. You'll see what tonight's show is. Of course, that's going to change shortly after I get finished doing live. You'll see what's upcoming. Of course, like I said, next week we're going to do dating in the and relationships in the digital age, and of course in the time of COVID. Yeah, and somebody single like me has a lot of experience to talk about dating relationship. Yeah, I can talk quite a bit about it. Um, and then, of course, I'm going to give you all a week off for Thanksgiving. That Saturday night after Thanksgiving, there's no live stream. It's be a pre-recorded show on the history of Thanksgiving. But on the website, you can find the story of the day, which is the article that I was talking about today. So you can find that on the show's website, as well as in the description below. News for Talking the Night, basically every Saturday night I'm on YouTube. Sponsorship opportunities today in history, that'll be coming back hopefully soon. Yeah, advertise, and I'll start doing the Night Talk newsletter once again. Like I said, it's only going to be $2.99. You can get some information and that you won't get on the show or on the website or anything like that. Of course, the show can only be heard on YouTube for right now, but it maybe later on it'll get it on other sites. Just, it's hard to do everything on my own. Of course, my tagline, like Nike has, just do it. I have, see you on the dark side. On the website, you can also find about me. There's going to be a resume thing, but you can look at about me, how I got started, and everything like that is right there. Under radio show tab, you can find previous guests that have had on the show archives with all the videos. I still got to put up videos and everything like that there. But I haven't done lately. I'll probably do that tomorrow. Update the website tomorrow, but more. Things where you can advertise on the show and the website, sponsorship, the Night Talk newsletter when it starts happening. Here you can find a blog post for Talking the Night. I've only written one. I haven't had time to write more. And then you can, for the Into the Paranormal YouTube channel, you can find the videos that I did there on the Talking the Night website. Not doing separate websites for both shows. So you can find all the videos there. The store will be coming soon. And of course, you can contact the show. As if you want to be a guest, want to advertise or sponsor the show, have a comment about the show, or even me, the host, send your name, email address, and message to talkingthenight@outlook.com. I will read them the best I can when I have a chance. So, I will stay up with all my viewers, listeners, everything like that. Again, like I said, this link is in the description. This one will be in there afterwards. And of course, the link for the Talking the Night website, where you can find all kinds of information, is in the description down below. So it don't look like I'm going to get anybody calling in, which is sad because I know it's a Saturday night. That's why I want to get back to doing my show Monday through Friday, but doing radio, where I have guests and I don't have to worry about the whole video thing. But that's going to take some time. Still got equipment to get, and like I said, if you want to donate to the show, there is a link down below where you can donate to the show. Help me get Talking the Night back on the airwaves. I'll probably still do video content, but the ultimate goal is to sit behind a microphone where you don't see my ugly mug. So, next week, next Saturday night, we're going to be talking about dating and relationships in the time of the digital age with dating apps, with not being able to go out and actually, or people that might struggle meeting somebody at the bar, or we're going to talk about all that coming up next week. And again, Thanksgiving weekend, there will be no show. It's going to be a pre-recorded show on the history of Thanksgiving. So I want to thank everybody that tuned in to the live stream, and I want to thank anybody that views this after the fact. Again, do not call the show after unless it says live. If it doesn't say live, do not call in. So next week, I'll probably do another call-in show. Talk about a few things and then do a call-in show. If you want to call in, talk about dating and relationships, what you're going through in this digital age, how you're handling it if you're single, or if you're dating somebody, or if you're married, how you're handling all this. Let's talk about that next week. So until then, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Let me get off that. And, like I said, until then, I shall see you on the dark side. Good night for Talking the Night. It's late at night. Darkness has fallen. Turn on the radio. And you hear him talking. Listening to what he has to say, all about paranormal.